Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast with Mike Trainer, Jay Jules, and John Depot.
This meeting is being recorded.
What is up, Giants fans? It is another episode of the Big Blue Offensive Podcast. Tonight, we are short Mike, and that's the reason why Jules is opening the show. But I do have John joining us. He's back. He's back in from Jamaica. John, how the hell was Jamaica, bro?
Bro, there's a reason why the word paradise exists. You go to these places sometimes, man, it's just mountains and ocean. It's crystal clear water, like fucking right out of a faucet. Water's 80 degrees, fucking nice little waves, drugs, you know.
Marijuana.
Yeah.
What part of the island were you on?
So at first we stayed at Grand Palladium, which I think is Ocho Rios, something like that.
Okay.
I forget. All I would say is don't go to Grand Palladium. Save your money. Go to the Jewel Grand, which is in Montego Bay. That place is the food's excellent there, and most likely we'll be having my wedding there. So.
Oh, nice. All right. So this was like a little like pre-checkout, see where we might have a little overseas wedding or whatever.
Yeah, I want to do a destination wedding, me and my fiance, and instead of doing a traditional fucking six-figure wedding, we want to go on vacation with everybody. If we're gonna spend money, let's really enjoy it, not fucking donate to the industry and have it over in 5 hours.
Listen, ain't nothing wrong with that, right? Like at least as long as you do it with a good close knit of people, ain't nothing better than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
let me ask you, man. What was was the Wi-Fi and everything working down there? Were you able to watch Sports Center? Were you able to get updates on your phone? I mean, I hope you're not lost completely here.
I'm pretty lost, bro. Fucking the first place that we stayed, the Wi-Fi was like in between buildings, so you basically didn't have Wi-Fi anywhere.
Oh wow.
And the other resort that we stayed at, it was a little bit spotty. You're on vacation, trying to fucking eat the food, trying to lay out, trying to hang on the beach, trying to drink a little bit, eat a little bit. It wasn't really, phone was kind of secondary.
So. Nah, I hear you there. Well, listen, the only thing that you would have really missed of significance over that whole time period that you were away, because literally it happened right after we were doing our filming and last show, was the whole James Brutusberry thing. All right. And I know that you caught up with that, but like my goodness, I mean, after all that debacle, I get it. Look, and I want to be clear on this, that I get it. He was going to end up on another team. We get it. The Giants, the salary cap was the main issue there. And, we couldn't keep him. We knew that was coming. But at the end of the day, after all, and this is the reason why I took it so personally. Or not, I don't want to use that word. That's just too emotional there. But like one of the reasons why,
wrong way.
Yeah, why exactly rubbed me the wrong way. That's a great way to put it, right? Was the fact that after all that said and done, you're still getting, and I get it. I know it's up in the air, and there's still like, I think it's like 8 million or whatever, but roughly between 8 and 10 million from the New York Giants. You are literally going to go to one of their bitter rivals and sign for less money. So now you're making like $20 million for this year to go play cornerback 2 on the Philadelphia Eagles. And listen, there's so much I got to say about this. There was so much I went in with Twitter, going at it with Eagles fans. If you want to bring up the haters club, I ran out of fucking room for people in the haters club, all right? Between mainly Eagles fans. But John, I need to hear your opinion, man. When you first found out that he went to the Philadelphia Eagles, how did that resonate with you?
Bro, I thought it was a joke at first. You guys sent that. You sent it in the group chat, and I think I was sitting on the toilet, and I looked at my phone. I'm like, "What the fuck?" Was it the Eagles? So if I could open it up, I started scrolling, and I was like, "Bro, he really fucking signed with the Eagles." And that's just one thing that happens in sports. I feel like is when players leave teams, the percentage of the time they stay in the division is so high. And James Brutusberry is the latest in that fucking, unfortunate string of losing players. But it's like hard not to take it personally. Like, fucking 30 other teams you could have picked, 29 if you want to fucking take Dallas out too. You got to go to the Eagles, what, you don't want to move? Like, why would you want to go to the Eagles other than to stick it to the Giants? Like, what other reason would you have?
Thank you. Hey, you know what? That's exactly what I felt. I felt more like as it was like he was totally going out to stick it to the Giants because you just mentioned right now he didn't, if he didn't want to move, I heard he was getting offers from the Jets. You don't even have to leave the stadium. Matter of fact, you could probably keep your old locker as long as someone else from the Jets ain't using it. Like, yo, you can, like, it's ridiculous. Like the Jets were offering it. And I heard Houston. I heard those were the two top teams that were really aggressively pursuing him outside of obviously the Philadelphia Eagles. And to me, this just sounds like some salty little motherfucker that was like, man, I didn't get the deal worked out and blah, and I wanted more money and I wanted to be this and I wanted to be that. And I'm going to go to the Eagles to really just stick it to you. And I know one of the things that I was hearing from a lot of the Eagle fans that was coming out, it was he wants to go play for a team that's contending. And oh boy, that's when I fucking lost my shit. And that's definitely when a lot of this sort of hit the fan in regards to me creating hater clubs and hopefully creating some real hating motherfuckers out there in Philly. Because right now, John, I went so crazy that week. There might be a hit out on me in Philadelphia. I don't think I'm allowed to go down there for a little bit. I gotta let
nothing to go down there for, bro. The cheesesteaks even suck in Philly, bro. So there's really nothing to go down there for.
Yeah, listen, cheesesteaks ain't even what they used to be. Like, listen, you go back maybe 15 years ago, something like that. You go down there, Pat's, Geno's, whatever. There's a few other places I know, and like it was cool. It was a staple. It was a vibe. But like, yo, you don't even have to do that anymore. There's some really good spots in Manhattan. There's good places like like even closer, like that shit passed. You know what I'm saying? It's like pizza, right? Like granted, I understand you want to go to some of these maybe traditional New York style pizza places that have been around for almost 100 years. Sure, I get it. You want to just be in that sort of ambiance and everything else. But other than that, no, man. Like even local Philadelphia people tell you that Passaginos ain't even all that.
I was gonna say the Passaginos are the worst ones.
Yeah, so it's like, like that whole Philly. Yeah, granted, they'll be able to call it a Philly cheesesteak if they want to, right? And like I know for years we used to call it, but nowadays everybody just calls it shit a cheesesteak. You can get good ones everywhere now. Like that whole thing is done. So you're right. There ain't no reason for me to be in Philly, but I did go down to Atlantic City, so I get close. It's close enough where it's like a 45-minute ride.
Yeah, you're definitely spit away from that fucking track.
Yeah, that's not my territory. That's Philly territory. There. I don't know. I might get whacked out over there. I don't know. But yeah, man, I was going into him hard. But I'll tell you one thing that's fantastic about this whole entire situation is fuck it, let him go. He is going to be the second guy there with Darius Slay, and now. With them getting Slay, them getting AJ Brown, them drafting the Kobe Dean because he fell down because he had a pectoral injury that everybody in the NFL was so nervous about, and that's part of the reason why he dropped to round 3 because all this is coming out later. Devontae Smith taking the next step, Jalen Hurts taking the next step. They're going to have a healthy combination between Scott and Sanders in their running attack and all these different things. The Giants line up to play them in December and the last game of the year. And you know what, man? Listen, I know there was
the Eagles until December.
That's correct. We do not play them till December. The exact date, I believe it might even be like the 17th, like late in December. I will pull that up momentarily, but yes, my friend, we do not play them until December. And then we play them week 18 of the NFL season. So with all those hopes and glories, and all this shit talking going back and forth. It's December the 11th. That is the day that we play them the first time this season. I mean, what better could you ask for? Here they are. They're coming in. Shit. Even their odds changed for winning the division. Because remember, at one point, it was like literally like just maybe like $50 to $100 between us, Washington and Philadelphia for the division. And then Dallas was like the clear favorite. That's not even the case no more. They're like plus 200 at this point. And we're not even near preseason quite yet. So like that could even change to their favor. So like, people are flying high in Philly. And they're like, I was like, oh, so it's Super Bowl or bust this season? And they're like, no. We got we got 2 first-round picks next year. Like this shit don't stink. All right. And this is where I'm coming where like, what better thing to do but to shit on their parade if not only we can knock them out of winning the division, but also maybe even affect them making the playoffs coming that late in the season. Because one thing I had pointed out when we were going through the schedule, Mike and I last week, was the fact that, John, you got to be realistic to the point that, look, we've got another new team, another new coaching staff in there, another new offense for Daniel Jones to lose. We went out and revamped the entire offensive line with the exception of Andrew Thomas and maybe Shane Lemieux, who is still a candidate to start over at left guard. So we'll see how that turns out, you know, when camp and everything starts. But you got to think about it, man, no matter what. And I think even you, as big a Giants fan as you are, would have to agree that it does take a little bit of time for all that to gel. You know, I understand you're going to have the camps, and I love the fact that the majority of everybody's showing up to OTA, but you know that none of that shit matters until the other team is really out there and actually out competing. And the fact that we got to open in Tennessee, and then come home against Carolina, and then have to play Dallas on Monday night is tough. That's a tough sled for a brand new thing. And that's the only reason why I see the Giants at 1-2 to start the season, just for those reasons.
I mean, I hear you, but I don't know. A part of me wants to say, like, if you got the right coach, there's no reason why you can't win games the first season. You know, what needs to happen really? Get to the quarterback, cover your receivers, cover the opponent's receivers, stop the run, and fucking score a few points. It's not that complicated. You know, you don't really need like a set-in period and all that stuff. Football is usually won and lost by a handful of plays in a given game. Just fucking be better than the other team. Look once. Just that's all. Just be better than the other team. Win a fucking few games. You know, I don't know. Tennessee's good. I don't know that Tennessee is great. I don't know that they're unbeatable. And really, we see it every single season. The first few weeks of the year, you never know what you're going to get out of these teams. It's such a crapshoot that, you know, to like paint the picture that they're these finished products right out of the gate, either team that's been together or not, you know, it's not really necessary. I think if you got good players and you fucking don't make mistakes, you're bound to win the games.
No, and I agree with you there. It's just that, you know, as of today, and again, look, you know, I as of this recording, it's May 23rd. I mean, you know, there's a long distance before we end up going into, I think, what's that game, like the week of September the 11th when we kick off against Tennessee. So that there's definitely going to be a few weeks between then and now. But we are one of the biggest underdogs currently going into week 1. And look, for good measure, you know, we had the 5th overall pick this year, or 7th overall, whichever one was on. No, hey, the Bears were 7th, we were 5th, right? And you know, Tennessee Titans were the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. The loaded AFC. They were the number 1 seed. And it's not like you could give their division a slouch type division. Yes, they got Houston, and they have Jacksonville. We know they have those 2 teams that they can bang up on. But they also have the Colts. You know, the Colts had Carson Wentz, who's now back in the NFC East, and they had Jonathan Taylor, who was the NFL leading rusher. You know, so they have guys. Michael Pittman, he's going to step up. He's going to be a big time receiver this year. You wait and see what he's going to look like with Matt Ryan at quarterback instead of Carson Wentz. So they have these things. Look, for the Titans coming off of 2 brutal back-to-back postseason losses over the last 2 seasons to come into your stadium and open up. You know, you went out, you made a couple of draft picks, and you made a big splash on draft night by trading away AJ Brown. You got to come out and take that game. I mean, you know, at the very least, you can sit back and be like, look, the Giants got nothing to lose, and we know that. Like, they're playing with house money, which is always great. And it's the beginning of the season where, you know, anything can happen. But man, if the press is on, it's on them all day, which is great. And that's where we could get lucky. What's that?
Yeah, no, for sure. The pressure is certainly on them to win the game. The Giants are definitely playing with house money from that standpoint. But I think talent plays, man, and a healthy Giants offense should be able to keep up. You got a healthy Tony, a healthy Barkley, a healthy Galladay, and fucking Shepard and Slayton. You should be able to put up fucking 25, 28 points. You just should. So
I mean, I know that's what Giants fans want to see, right? The only thing I think of, I don't know, just call it because, you know, I am a big history buff, by the way, and I do believe that history does have a way of repeating itself. I just remember that when Spagnuolo first came over to this Giants team, and we had unleashed that defense, and that was all the talk, and he was going to be this big coordinator, and we had the big front. Don't forget, we started off the season 0-2. The Packers embarrassed the shit out of us on that thing. And you know, the season started off just a little slow. And then they kind of caught on by week 3, and by week 4 started rolling. And then before you knew it, the Giants were in that run, and then they had a fight to get into the playoffs. And then everybody knows the story from there because we go on to win the Super Bowl. And obviously, I'm not trying to say that is what is going to happen this year, but you have Kafka, you have Dable, you have this whole brand new style of offense that they're now bringing into this team, right? And they're going to try to utilize all these weapons and hope that everybody stays healthy. And you have a front five that's never played before. So, look, I don't know how much practice they're going to get in preseason. Hopefully these guys play a little bit, and this way they can get some of that experience. But I also know, if I recall correctly, that the Bills don't, usually play with that much play. They don't use their starters too much. Whereas on the other end, I think Andy Reid does a lot with Kansas City. So I just don't know what kind of combination that we're going to get from all that. I mean, look, the reality is this. Whether or not we beat Tennessee and win in Tennessee, we're not supposed to win that game. But you better bet your ass we better be ready week 2 when we come home against Carolina, because that is a game that this team cannot afford to fuck up and lose.
Yeah,
right?
There's no shot. You cannot start 0-2 again. You cannot start 0-2 again. Not with the teams that you're going up against. You just cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot.
I agree with you 100%, because then don't forget, then this is the only reason why it's unfortunate, but this is the main driving reason why I say that I could see Dallas sweeping us this season, is that we get them now week 3 at home on that Monday night game, national TV, without looking at Dallas's schedule. They should be ready to go. I mean, if you looked at them last year, they came out firing against Tampa Bay on that Thursday night game. They looked pretty impressive, so they were ready to go. And again, if we're not, they could catch us sleeping. And then when we have to then have a rematch with them, I think it's like week 10 of the regular season, it'll be in Dallas. They'll have Jerry Jones will have the referees in his pocket. And if the Eagles are halfway as good as everybody thinks they may be in Philadelphia, that game is going to be a must win for Dallas again. And who knows what happens there. And then that's, just again, with the way things go in the past, anytime we have a tight game with Dallas, in Dallas, those referees start pulling those yellow things out of their pocket a lot weirder at times. So we will be playing against 12 people, in my opinion, at that point. So that's the only reason why I get a little nervous.
There's a handful of guys with flags on the sidelines.
Yeah, this is starting off 1-3. 1-2 rather. It doesn't seem outrageous. Could we be 2-1? Absolutely. And then we get the Bears, and I think they even out there. And then we'll just see what happens from there at 2-2. That's just the way I see things. But with all that said and done, it all starts with the OTAs, right? And you brought up Tony and you brought up health. And here's another thing that comes out about this guy. And I hate to bash Kadarius Toney. Like as much as I want to sit here and say I'm on Team Wendell and all that kind of good stuff, which I am, and I'm going to still be for the season. It's all out of fun. It's just out of a competitive nature. At the end of the day, I hope Toney fucking goes off. But at the same time, I'm going to be Team Wendell for the whole rest of the season. But just to hear that this guy had knee surgery, even if it was just to clean up a couple of things in his knee, I don't know, John. Like, maybe this guy's just got a history we don't know about, that he just can't stay healthy. I mean, he was hurt in college. He had COVID last year that messed him up. He was hurt all season long. I mean, you got to start questioning that. Look, as a matter of fact, I even had one of the guys from Philly coming at me today, where he was basically like, yeah, hook at Darius Toney, because I had made a comment about James Bradbury that's, got kind of bunch of likes. And if anybody's listening, I appreciate it. Where I said, because, it was something where the Daniel Jones pass, which we'll get into in a moment. Basically, he was like, yeah, then James Bradbury jumps off and picks that off. I was like, James Bradbury ain't going to pick that off. He's going to have a hard enough time. His back is going to be turned. He's going to be running after James Toney because he's not going to be able to get Kadarius Toney because he's not going to be able to keep up. So there was that joke. And then people came right back. They're like, well, is Kadarius Toney even going to be healthy? And I'm like, God, it was one season. You know what I mean? So it is something that's there. It is something to keep in mind.
He's definitely got a stigma to him now. That's the thing with first-round picks, bro. You got to be perfect in New York, or you're a bust. There's zero in between. You're either Aaron Judge hitting 2 home runs a fucking night, or you're Gary Sanchez. That's it. That's all it is. It's what it is. Fair. So he's a first-round pick. He displayed what he's capable of doing. So it's just a matter of him getting, staying healthy and being on the field. But it's not like he got hurt again or there was some issue. He just got his knee cleaned up. It wasn't even like, a significant deal. Guys get that done mid-season and barely even lose a game. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's better to get it done now in fucking May than it is to get it done in fucking October or fucking, August, something like that when you go into the season. Get it done now, heal up for a few weeks, and then, when training camp comes around, you'll be fucking healthy. Let's fucking go play ball.
That's it. That's definitely it.
The narrative can change fast, man. That's what happens. That's what happens in sports, period, and especially in this town. Fucking 1 or 2 weeks playing well, and you are a god. So you gotta, then you have to ride that wave for the next 15 years, and that's how you become an icon. But the narrative around a player can change pretty quickly. Daniel Jones goes out and wins the first 2 games this year. Everything that everybody said the last 4 years about this kid melts away, and they're gonna pretend like they never said it before. Just like that happened every time he does good. Everybody's like, "Oh no, well I wasn't the guy saying that he was terrible." I always had faith in Daniel Jones. It was always this. It was always that. So just fucking go out and win games, bro. Like, just go out and fucking win games.
No, you're right, man. Listen, you're right. And look, it's just funny because it all stemmed off of PFF, by the way, who I've been hating on. Put him in the haters
mortal
club.
enemies.
And then it was that, like, throughout the whole thing, that Daniel Jones throws his dart. Now, by the way, it was very nice. I like the way he was moving around, stepping up in the pocket, escaping, running to the right, throwing on the run. Look, yeah, maybe the throw, if you really look at it, was a little high. But at the end of the day, it was on the target. It's to a fucking dummy. You don't even know how real tall that dummy is, or the net, rather, right? So, like, who knows if that net isn't like 6 feet tall, and where that little arrow was like the guy in the chest. So he threw it to the guy's helmet. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know where it is. So, it was just, a couple of things in regards to that. But, one of the ways that I was able to fire back at that guy about the first round pick was the fact that I was like, so 2 years ago when you guys drafted Jalen Reagor in the first round, and Justin Jefferson was literally sitting there, who's an absolute stud. Yeah, that's okay. Is Jalen Reagor even on the team anymore for Philly? So, yeah, I mean, look, like you said, it is fucking hilarious how people hate, focus so much attention on these first round picks. But, that's just how it is with that kind of shit. I mean, look, that's just one thing to look at. I like to see it. I like the attention, right? At the very least. And then some good notes here, right? Like one thing is, Daniel Bellinger continues to keep impressing. I mean, look, we've had nothing but nice things to say about him. We were excited about the pick. He's looking good. John, I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, I know you were a fan of that pick, weren't you?
I definitely was. I knew obviously, once Ingram left, we knew we needed a tight end. Frankly, before Evan Ingram left, we knew we needed a tight end. And once Caden Smith was gone, I was like, well, we're going to be drafting a tight end. It's just a matter of who and when. And it's going to happen. You're going to get somebody. And, he's a big kid, fucking plays hard. And, apparently he's been looking good in OTA so far. Listen, man, you don't need to spend a first round pick on a tight end. You find those guys in the mid rounds that end up being, you don't even need an all pro tight end either. That only can take you so far, best case scenario. Like, it's nice to have a Kittle or a fucking a Travis Kelce, but what is that team? If you look at the 3 players on Kansas City, Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce, I would argue the one that you would be most okay with losing is probably Travis Kelce. You know what I mean? I think that would be. You don't think so?
I think they displayed that when they let Tyreek Hill walk and they didn't resign him.
That's a different story. That's a money thing. I don't know.
The thing is, too, Travis Kelce's don't grow on trees. Right? So, I mean, you're talking about, like, he's up there with the Tony Gonzalez's and the premier tight ends of the world. Like, so, like, that's just a rare find. But at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, look, Mark Bavaro, if I'm not mistaken, he was like a 3rd or 4th round pick back in the day, and that was a giant legend of all time. Look at Jeremy Shockey, came in, he was a 1st round pick, and he busted. Evan Ingram, 1st round pick. Well, where's he at, right? So you're right. You don't necessarily have to. If this guy's doing all the right things, I mean, Knox, if we're going to compare to what Buffalo's been doing and what their team has looked like, Knox was, like, I believe, a 4th round pick, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of similarities between that style of play, and Knox has become a tremendous red zone target for the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. So, I mean, if that's all this guy ends up being, I'm way okay with that. And then, other guy that's a favorite of mine is Darren Beavers. Apparently, he's showing off skills and coverage. He's catching the eyes of the coaches. It looks like he is on the way to making this team I mean, don't forget that was the last pick of the draft for us. So, that's a guy I'm rooting for. I liked him in Cincinnati. He's an underrated linebacker. I'm not saying he's going to be this big, huge impact player that's just going to come out and, he's the next Brian Urlacher, but it's good to see him impressing. And I think he should make the team.
It was interesting when you caught me off guard when you said that he was looking good in pass coverage, because that's not what people were saying about him when he was coming out, when he was getting drafted. When he got drafted by the Giants, that's they said he was a kind of a thumper, a run stopper.
Right.
And if he's displaying that he's got good coverage skills against the Giants receivers, that's something to get a little excited about. Again, like you said, you're not looking for fucking Clay Matthews or anything like that at the middle linebacker position. You're not, in the 7th round. You just want a guy who, at least for the next 1 or 2 years, can step in behind Blake Martinez, can step in behind Tay Crowder, and maybe earn some playing time. And God forbid somebody goes down, be able to kind of fill the hole.
And listen,
kind of keep it smooth.
And again, the only reason why I keep drawing comparisons is that we took a lot of Buffalo's personnel and brought it over here. And if you look at Matt Milano, who is their star linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, Matt Milano was a 4th round pick. So they find these guys and they develop them to become these studs. So I'm not saying Beavers is going to be Milano. Please do not ever put me out on that much of a blast. But you know what? Like I said, if he could definitely compete with Tay Crowder for that position. That's all I have to say as far as that goes. And that's what I'm expecting from him. And then you also want to hear one last thing too, is Leonard Williams talking about how he's loving the environment. He's excited. He's been hearing good things. He's feeling the vibe from the coaches. He's not the only one to say it. But you know what? Since he's the highest paid player on our defense, you want to hear that coming from him.
Yeah. Well, you certainly don't want to hear the opposite.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And I just
or nothing at all, right? I guess.
Yeah, and after going through Joe Judge and hearing how all the players were so behind him and this and that, and seeing how that kind of just fucking imploded so quickly, I almost reserve they're being asked a direct question in a meeting, in a conference call, or press conference, whatever it is. So they have to give the company line, it's a grain of salt, whatever. Show me on Sunday what how good the chemistry is and how much you're feeling the coaching staff. That's when I want to see it. I don't want to see it in May.
Listen, lots of going on, good things to come. It's only May, but it's good to hear the excitement, the environment, and everything going good. And as I've been saying, Yankees been playing good. The Mets have been playing good. The Rangers are still alive in the playoffs. New York sports is back. That's just my thing. I'm telling you right now, we're going to be a lot better than we have been. You just want to see improvements. That's all we're looking for. But, that's kind of it, John. I think we're going to wrap things up today. We're going to kind of wrap things. We're making a quick episode. We just wanted to keep touch, talk a little bit about Bradbury, talk a little bit about the OTAs, just give a little bit of feedback in regards to that. Memorial Day weekend's coming. So, I have a happy and safe and healthy one, the official, unofficial kickoff to summer, because officially summer doesn't begin until June 21st. However, we kick it off on Memorial Day. Unless something major develops between now and then, we're going to take the week off. Not a lot going on. Memorial Day, OTAs are pretty much wrapped up. Unless some major development occurs, and then we'll do a quick short at some point throughout the week. You'll be hearing from us back in June. That'll be the first Monday. We'll be back all together, everybody healthy and enjoying. So definitely look forward to that show. We got some nice guests lined up for the month of June. So we'll definitely be bringing that part in. So there's going to be a lot going on. And look, before you know it, John, we'll have the clock started down to when we kick off to start the season and preseason and all that good shit. Because like right, John, as soon as Memorial Day rolls by, June will be there, then 4th of July, and then it's all rocking and rolling from there.
You were there. We're fucking halfway there, bro.
That's it.
More than halfway towards the start of the season. More than halfway at this point.
So
let's fucking go, baby.
That's it. With all that said, have a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. We look forward to seeing you guys soon. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.